Yo, Wagwan, it's your boy, brother. I know him say, aka Chill Samp, coming at y'all again. Oh man, I'm gonna break down this series that we just finished up with the New York Knicks. Just took care of them. Yo, shout out to all my New York Knicks fans out there. Shout out to K Rod, my boy Kev. Shout out to Nice. Shout out to everybody who was over there on that Knicks and ish, who was nice enough to invite your boy over there. So I was able to kind of debate and go back and forth with a few of those games. So shout out to all of y'all, everybody out there in the New York world. But man, New York Knicks was favored to win this series. Some was even saying the Knicks in five. And I still find that extremely disrespectful, but I ain't even gonna go on no tangent on that because Miami Heat, we used to the disrespect. We used to proving people wrong, just like we did in this series right here. The Miami Heat, man, we remain unbeaten at home in these playoffs. Ended up eliminating the Knicks in 6 games. It was a great physical, competitive series. Two high-level coaches. Shout out to Coach Tibbs having your team prepared and coming out there to put on a great show and having a good coaching duel with Coach Spo. But as I predicted, the Miami Heat's coaching and role players were the big difference in that series, and especially in Game 6, and that closeout Game 6. In that game, Kyle Lowry, shout out to Kyle, came in off the bench with 11 points, 9 big assists, 3 steals, and he gave us 31 minutes in that Game 6. That was huge. Kyle Lowry coming through with that veteran leadership, coming off the bench, keeping things steady. 3 big steals, including a huge steal at the end of the game to help seal and secure that victory. So shout out and salute to you, Kyle Lowry. Caleb Martin, I got to give Caleb his flowers. He only had 8 points, 5 huge rebounds though, but his plug and play for substituting for Tyler, who's out with injury, and also coming in for Jimmy Butler on that game where Jimmy was out. He helped us not skip a beat, man. Caleb Martin, he didn't necessarily do it on one end of the floor. He was making big plays on defense, big plays on offense. He was making huge three-pointers when we needed them, attacking the basket, getting to the free throw line. Caleb Martin, he was really doing his thing. And a lot of people don't give him his flowers or give him his credit, but he's a really underrated ball player. So shout out to you on that. Max Strus, he was really steady for us throughout the entire series. In this Game 6, he had 14 points and 6 rebounds. But again, our role player and our bench, they did it on both ends of the floor, especially defensively. Namely, defensively in this Game 6, our entire bench had at least 1 steal apiece. Everybody on the bench contributed, diving for loose balls, going for steals. Everybody had a steal. Everybody had at least one except for Cody Zeller. Cody, God bless your soul, but you have to do better than what you've been doing. He gave us a big 0 points, a nothing burger, and a lot of times he was out there looking like he was lost. I'm just going to keep it real, okay? You was looking like you was a little lost, Cody, so I'm hoping that you ain't just tall for nothing, and I'm hoping that you show up and give us more effort than you gave us in this series, and you play a lot better in the Boston series that we got coming up. But outside of Zeller, outside of Cody Zeller, our bench really did their thing, and they showed up. They did it big time. Our stars, Bam and Jimmy. Let's start with Bam. Bam, 23 points. Bam Adebayo, 23 big points, 9 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block. Bam was doing it on both ends of the floor. This is the Bam that we're used to. This is the Bam that we expect to see. The Bam that's on both ends, executing on offense, executing on defense, and also being that leader that we need him to be at the top of that zone that we play sometimes. Jimmy Butler with 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. This is just Jimmy. We didn't need him to be playoff Jimmy to score 40 points, 30 plus, and go off and go nuts. We just needed Jimmy to be who Jimmy is. And he came in and gave us that. 24 points and 8 rebounds with 4 big assists. So that's huge. So shout out to Jimmy on that. The zone defense that we played, it really disrupted New York. So we were switching between zone and man-to-man, but when we threw the zone at them, it seemed like it really disrupted the New York Knicks rhythm. The game plan was clear. We're going to let Jalen Brunson get his, but we're gonna make sure everybody else on the Knicks roster is stifled. And that's exactly what we did. Jalen Brunson is special. He's a special player. It's only so much you can do with him. He's gonna get to his spots, he's gonna get his shots up, he's gonna score the basket. But I mean, he definitely did that because he had 41 points. But we held everyone else on the Knicks team to 13 for 49 field goal percent shooting. I'm sorry, 13 of 49 field goals overall. Bam's presence was a huge part of that by him protecting the paint a lot better. But 13 for 49, that is huge. Our defense stepping up and holding the Knicks to that type of shooting. There's nobody who can beat anybody shooting 13 for 49 like that. So a big part of it was our defense. A big part of it was Coach Poe's schemes. But another big part of it was just the New York Knicks not locked in, not focused. Maybe the lights were too big for them. They weren't ready for the moment. Our team is a lot more experienced in these games, and the New York Knicks weren't, and it showed. So shout out to us for holding those boys to that. And in the midst of that, we only took 25 free throws as a team. The Miami Heat only had 25 free throws that entire game versus the New York Knicks, 32 free throws that they shot the entire game. And we still edged it out. Shout out to Scott Foster. I see you out there with giving the Knicks 32 free throw attempts to our 25. But we ain't going to talk about Scott Foster because we finally eliminated and defeated the Scott Foster, whatever it is he had on us. But we took care of that. Anyway, it was a complete team game. Our role players, our bench, everybody contributed. The role players and bench did just enough so that the stars could be their regular selves. It didn't take a Herculean effort from Jimmy or an out-of-body experience from Bam. It just took them being who they are because the role players stepped up and did their jobs. And that's Miami Heat culture, baby. That's the Heat culture. That's what we're all about. That's what we're known for. For y'all who don't know about the Miami Heat and just now seeing us because, we're this 8 seed that just came in and upset Milwaukee, and now we upset New York, and now we playing against Boston. This is how we get down. That next man up mentality that no matter who's out there on the court, everybody's going to contribute and give their all at any given moment. That's what makes us such a hard team to prepare for as well, because you never know who's going to step up and you never know where it's going to come from because everybody does their part. It was just a complete team game. Coach Spo deserves recognition. He deserves a lot of credit, a lot of props. His game-to-game adjustments, his timeout adjustments, his on-the-fly adjustments, it was all on full display. Coach Spo was in his bag. And I'm telling you, he's been to 10 conference finals in his career as a coach, but not one Coach of the Year vote, or not one Coach of the Year award, rather, that he's ever received. And at some point, he's putting the whole NBA on notice. And we don't do it for the accolades or the individual recognition or none of that stuff. But for Coach Spo to be coaching at this level for so long and nobody acknowledges that, that's saying a lot. You know, the coaches that we've beaten have had Coach of the Year in the past. And Spo has took care of those same coaches, got them up out of here in a short series, and still there's nobody hollering Coach Spo for Coach of the Year. But that's all right. We coming for the bigger trophy. So y'all could keep that. Y'all can hold that Coach of the Year. That ain't much what we here for. But anyway, almost every time we come out of a timeout, we're guaranteed. Well, it seemed like we're guaranteed to score a basket. That is a sign of Coach Spo being locked in, prepared, drawing up plays that he knows are going to work, and our players executing those plays. And that's Miami Heat basketball. Execution, preparation, coaching, and just gritty gutsiness. That's what we're all about. That's what the Miami Heat culture is all about. That's what they talk about when they mention Miami Heat culture. So again, it was an excellent, hard-fought series. Not by no means was it an easy cakewalk. New York did make us work for that. New York, salute to y'all boys. Y'all came in there and made it interesting and pushed it to a 6-game series. But at the end of the day, our role players were better, our coaching was better, and just our hustle and our focus was just levels above the Knicks. So shout out to that. So we'll be moving on to the next round. Now, as for the New York Knicks, man, have nothing to hang your head on. New York Knicks, y'all had a really good season this year. At the start of the season, nobody really expected y'all boys to get as far as y'all did, even though y'all were favored to beat us because y'all took care of Cleveland Cavs and then got to us and just ran into a better team. But no smoke being blown on y'all boys. I mean, y'all definitely did your thing. Brunson was definitely the guy in that game 6. Again, he's a special talent. He's always going to find his way to get to his spots, find his way to score the basket. Just in this game 6 alone, he shot 14 for 22 on his field goals, and he played 45 minutes of that game. 5 huge three-pointers as well. So he was clearly trying to will his team to that victory. He was trying to do everything he could to get the victory, but he only had 3 assists in that game 3, and that's a big indicator that his teammates were not making shots. His teammates not only weren't making shots, but we were stifling those boys so much that they weren't able to really get off. And we were turning them over and forcing them to cough the ball up. And that forced Jalen Brunson to kind of go into more of an attack mode than he probably wanted to. Again, 45 minutes in that game 6. And he played 40 plus minutes in pretty much all of the games in this whole series. So I don't know how that's going to hold up over time when you're asking so much of your point guard, who's also supposed to be your facilitator, who's giving you so many minutes but not getting much return from the cast around him. Let's look at the numbers. When we look at the numbers for Julius Randle had only 15 points, 11 rebounds, but he only shot 3 for 14 field goal shooting. That's horrible. That Nagwan cut it. R.J. Barrett, he had 11 points on 1 for 10 shooting. That Nagwan cut it. And R.J. was the guy I felt like was the most dangerous because he's hardest to prepare for. I mean, Jalen Brunson, we know he's going to get his. Julius Randle, we can kind of scheme and put defenses in place to kind of keep him at bay. But R.J. Barrett, if he's going, he's extremely difficult for us to prepare for because of his length, because of his matchup problems that he causes, because of the fact that he can stretch the floor, he can make the jump shot, and he can drive, and he can post up. But in this game, he was just 1 for 10. And that's not going to cut it in a round 2 playoff game, in a closeout game at that. When your team is up against the wall, that's not going to work out. So Hart had 11 points, and he was only 1 for 4 from downtown. That's not going to work out, buddy. That's not going to get it. So those guys were the only guys for New York that finished in double-digit scoring. Randle, R.J. Hart, and Brunson. And those numbers outside of Brunson were horrible numbers. So if you shooting that bad and you putting all the pressure on one guy to facilitate and to score, that's not going to add up to a good recipe for success, especially if you're playing against a team that's as battle-tested and has the championship pedigree that we have, that the Miami Heat have. That's not going to work. Coaching-wise, for Tibbs, for the most part, he did an okay job. However, I saw a lot of ISO ball. There was not much movement. I didn't see a lot of pick and rolls for New York. They didn't use their strengths. I would expect it to see a little bit more, perhaps pick and roll with Julius Randle and Brunson, or RJ and Randle, or even Obi Toppin. Even throw Obi Toppin in there. But Obi Toppin, looking at him coming off the bench, he shot 5 threes. And that was all the shots that he took for the whole game. And he's a leaper. He's a leaper who can get up there and get to the rim. So I don't understand why Coach Spo had him just shooting jump shots like that. Even Mitchell Robinson, maybe he's not even known as a scorer, but if you put him in pick and roll situations and get him going towards the basket with all that size that he has, he's bound to, will the ball into the basket. But I didn't see any of that. I just saw Coach Spo just kind of staying one-dimensional. I didn't see much adjustments made, by Coach Thibodeau. I don't see much adjustments made by Thibodeau from one game to the next. I saw the same stagnant, the ball stays on one side of the court and everybody just standing around watching, regardless of who had the ball. So that style is probably okay for the regular season, but it's not going to make it in a postseason round, semifinals round game. That's not going to work out, especially in a closeout game 6 on your opponent's court where you're playing for your life. So it did look like Coach Tibbs was out coached, and the New York Knicks overall were out executed. They were out hustled. It was, just a cut and dry case of one team wanting it more and one team looking more prepared than the other team. Overall, again, it was a good season for New York. The New York fans, y'all got a bright future ahead of y'all. So y'all, as long as you get more consistent help for Brunson against more seasoned playoff teams, then y'all should be okay. But in this particular instance, y'all just ran into the better team, which was the Heat, as I called it, the Miami Heat. I called it initially the Heat in 7, but they surprised me. I even didn't give my boys enough credit than I should have. We took care of it in 6, could have been taken care of in 5, but we ain't gonna talk about woulda, coulda, shoulda. We beat those boys in 6 games after taking care of Milwaukee in 5 games. So with all that being said, I'm real proud of the boys. Salute. We got a few days to get ready for the Boston Celtics series that we got. That's going to be a very exciting matchup, and I'm looking forward to that big time. So shout out to the Celtics for getting there. Shout out to my Miami Heat for getting to the Eastern Conference Finals again. This is going to be a rematch of the Eastern Conference Finals from last year, so I'm looking forward to it. So lay around for the next episode where I'm going to give y'all my predictions of that series, and we're also going to take a peek at the Lakers and the Nuggets, and I'm going to jump into that and give a little light prediction on that too. So salute to everybody who's been supporting me, been supporting my channel. Y'all stay tuned. I know your boy been away for a little while, but I had to go duke it out with the New York Knicks fans a little bit for that series. But now I'm back home and we back at the crib. So we looking forward to this, and shout out and salute to everybody. Brother, I knew him said oat.